You may be seated. Family and friends, we are gathered here today in the sight of God and these witnesses to celebrate the union of Rishi and Melissa in holy marriage. This marriage service is not just a social occasion, rather it is a service of worship, and where vows are made, prayers are offered, and blessings are given. Marriage is the opportunity for God's redemptive work to manifest itself within our lives and be reflected throughout the commitments made between Mel and Rishi. So from this, we do not proceed lightly, but reverently, with an awareness of the divine foundation underlying this commitment. So let us pray. God, we come before you with joyful hearts, joy in celebrating this union between Rishi and Melissa, joy in the recognition of your redemptive work within their lives, as we acknowledge it is you who has prepared their hearts for this moment and brought them here today. We are grateful that you've instilled within our hearts the capacity to love. May your love surround, protect, and guide Rishi and Melissa today and all that is to come as they strive to reflect you within their marriage. Amen. If Rishi's parents, would you step forward? The marriage of Melissa and Rishi brings together two different families, two unique storylines. So a new chapter of their life begins. Though this relationship was formed between you two, their marriage will ultimately be blessed by and supported by their families. So who stands with this woman to signify the family support of this union? Okay. And who stands with this man to signify his family's support of this union? Excellent. You may be seated. Thank you. At this time, we'll have a poetry reading by Sister of the Groom, Shayla Desai.
We, unaccustomed to courage, exiles from delight, live coiled in shells of loneliness until love leaves its high, holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives, and in its train come ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient histories of pain. Yet if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. We are weaned from our timidity in the flush of love's light. We dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love costs all we are and will ever be. Yet it is the only love which sets us free.
Rishi, first of all, I'm honored that you asked me to play this song at your wedding. I feel like music has always been something that's brought us closer together, whether we've been learning pop songs and mashing them together in weird ways, or challenging each other to write new music, or trying our hand at busking in the New York City subway. So those memories in our friendship is something that's very important to me. And I'm really excited for the both of you as you begin this journey. So I wish you a life of happiness and adventure. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy, and may your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation for when the winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. When you look into each other's eyes and see the love that keeps you strong, you will stay forever young.
Colossians 3:12 through 17. Since God chose you to be holy people he loves, you must clothe yourself with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowances for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. Let the message about Christ in all its richness fill your lives. Teach and counsel each other with all the wisdom he gives. Sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to God with thankful hearts. And whatever you do or say, do it as representatives of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks through him, the God the Father.
And I will read Romans 12:9 through 16. Love must be sincere and hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless those and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn, and live with each other in harmony.
Today, we are here to acknowledge and celebrate the love shared between Melissa and Rishi. We are here to celebrate what was, what is, and what is to come for you both as a couple. In celebrating what was, we celebrate the history that has brought us here. This wedding wasn't just decided upon last minute or without much thoughtful consideration, but it's part of a larger story, part of a larger history. And it's the unfolding commitment of love that has been cultivated over these past years. It's a celebration of God's grace actively working within your lives, forming you into who you are today. So Melissa and Rishi, they met in Kolkata, India. And it was there that an acquaintance turned into a friendship, which turned into a dating relationship, into an engagement, and here today. And what a transformative friendship, where you both witnessed one another in perhaps one of the most vulnerable and transparent seasons of your life thus far, life abroad in Kolkata. So individually, both Melissa and Rishi are defined by their generous hospitality. And perhaps this is one of the most salient contributions that initially inspired their mutual admiration for one another. Both have served vulnerable populations of people, striving to make the lives of those who suffer a little more hope-filled and a little more bright. And regardless of the country or season, their homes have been available to welcome in the traveler, and their vocations have provided respite for the poor and weary. And their hospitality is generous because it comes at great cost for them. It's a cost of their time, their emotions, and their energies. Yet amidst great cost, their hospitality has been given freely, willingly, and more often than not, joyfully. And speaking of joy, this couple knows how to have fun, right? Who else would fly a kite on their first date other than these two, right? So whether it's a competitive spirit over a board game or a new adventure for a fun, an exotic restaurant, or even just engaging your friends in deep conversations, Melissa and Rishi, you consistently fill our lives with enriching conversations and genuine, heartfelt laughter. And it's in this context is what we celebrate what was. So amidst the demands of the Foreign Service and Sari Bari and the chaotic streets of Kolkata, you found one another. And you grew in love and commitment and began to dream of a life shared together. And that's what brings us to celebrating what is. Celebrating the here and now, the today. We celebrate you both. Weddings are exciting ceremonies. So may you savor today in the vows you make as a marker within your lives. May it mark for you a new season as you lay down individuality and embrace becoming a couple. In addition to celebrating you as a couple, we celebrate the combination of the Hayward and Desai families. We celebrate these collective families combining as a means of honoring and supporting your marriage. And wisdom reminds us that we not only marry an individual, but we marry into a family. And sure, this comes with its own, small quirks and expectations over holiday visits. But we acknowledge that you both are marrying into strong and committed families where love and faithfulness are present. And we acknowledge the strong connection and support you feel from both sides. And that support will persist as a means of consistent encouragement in all that is to come. And finally, we celebrate all that is to come for you as a couple. We trust that the love established here and vowed upon today will continue to grow into something larger, something more transcendent that reflects the character and person of Christ. I want to spend some time talking about how does love grow? Because I think this is an important question for us to consider as we move forward. So in his book, You Are What You Love, philosopher Jamie Smith states, you can't not love. Love is funny that way. Love is like the needle of our internal compass, always pointing itself towards the object of our desires. So it leads us with the question, what is it you love? Who is it you love? Marriage will present you this question repeatedly. And at times, your response will be clear, concise, and determined in that both your hearts are pointed towards one another. And other times, due to stress, challenging seasons of life, or just internal selfishness, it may be harder to honestly say that. But in those trying times, it becomes all the more imperative to hang on to the rhythm and habits of cultivating love for one another. Because we can't merely think our way into loving someone, especially as we attempt to grow in love with someone. But love is cultivated within our action, within our habits. It's the habits of self-sacrifice, self-denial, and advancing the betterment of other that forms the bonds of consistent and dedicated love. So in light of this, what habits reflect and nurture marital love formed within us so that it becomes second nature, so that it becomes an unconscious response, so that when trials of life knock on your door and mock the very love you attest to share, you can ignore their challenges. I think these habits can be identified through both imitation and practice. Imitation. You're both supported by sets of parents whom you respect and admire. In what ways have they impressed upon you a healthy love? What are their routines you've spent your lives observing? Routines that have strengthened their own marriage and love for one another. Reflect on those core traits and reiterate them. As well, who are the couples you love and admire? See what they do and incorporate that in rituals and habits. And along the way, know that we're here to support and cheer you on. So don't hesitate to ask for help and encouragement. Secondly, practice. Adequately loving someone is a process of trial and error. We don't figure it out immediately, and take the practice. I'm sure the couples here today can attest that even over 10 or 15 or 30 years. Loving one another still wholly takes time and effort. And as with much of life, consistency in the small things empowers us for success in the large things. So small, daily, habitual actions of self-denial and selflessness enables us to love one another with greater and greater ease. Practicing love for one another continually recalibrates our hearts so that they are consistently pointed towards your spouse. And as we heard earlier, this imagery of practicing our love is reflected in Colossians 3. Paul starts off by expressing, if you have been raised with Christ, then clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. This list of Christ-like attributes closely reflects 1 Corinthians 13's list, defining the qualities of love. We're all familiar with the truth that love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it's not self-seeking. But yet what Paul reminds us in Colossians 3 is that love is active. You cannot possibly wait for these attributes to just transpire in your marriage, but you must actively clothe yourselves with them. So in light of Paul's exhortations, find and embrace opportunities to practice compassion, practice humility, practice gentleness, practice Christ-like love. And we have already witnessed these transpire within your relationships. Both of you know sacrifice. Both of you know the work ethic required to make it. Both of you are inspired by the hope of what's to come and what could be as you adamantly pursue exciting opportunities of a future together. From our vantage point, we'd offer that your compasses truly are pointed towards one another. In closing, again, we celebrate what was, what is, and what is to come. As you say your vows to one another, know there's a strength of an enriching history drawing you ever closer together. There is the present strength of the love you share and of family that will be supporting you and cheering you on today and in the years to come. And there's the strength of God's ever-present Spirit, who will continually bind you closer together, regardless of what lies ahead within this journey of marriage. So, at this time, will be a song from a sister of the groom, sister of the bride.
his hands the wonders wrought. This is my Father's world. The birds their carols raise. The morning light, the lily white, declare their Maker's praise. This is my Father's world. He shines in all that's fair. In the rustling grass I hear him pass. He speaks to me everywhere. This is my Father's world. Oh, let me ne'er forget that though the wrong seems off so strong, God is the ruler yet. This is my Father's world. Why should my heart be sad? The Lord is King, let the heavens ring. God reigns, let the earth be glad.
Melissa and Rishi, this new journey at times will be richly rewarding and extremely difficult, but most importantly, it'll be a journey you take together. Marriage, as you know, is much more than signatures on a legal contract, but you are promising, and you have asked all these people here to witness these promises, that you want to be with each other and only each other for the rest of your lives. And the promises you will make here today, you'll do everything in your power to uphold. And for their part, the people who love you will also do everything in their power to help you keep these promises. Melissa, will you have this man to be your husband, to live together in a covenant of marriage? Do you promise to love him, comfort him, honor him, keep him in sickness and in health, forsaking all others, be faithful to him as long as you both shall live?
I do.
And Rishi, will you have this woman to be your wife, to live together in the covenant of marriage? Do you promise to love her, comfort her, honor her, keep her in sickness and in health, forsaking all others, being faithful to her as long as you both shall live?
I do.
All right. And this wedding ceremony is a public recognition of the commitment that Melissa and Rishi have already made privately in their hearts. But it's also a commitment to all of you who are here today and who know and love them. So at this time, the couple will publicly read the vows they've written for one another.
Melissa, you are the most amazing person I have ever met. I love who you are, and I love who we are together. I love where you come from and where you want to go, and I am humbled and giddy that you have chosen me to go with you. I promise not to take you for granted. I promise to play games together, and I promise to laugh with you. I promise to eat vegetables even when they're not covered in melted cheese. I promise to go on adventures with you, and on those adventures, I promise to guard vigilantly against altitude sickness. I promise to support your dreams and your career. I promise to support and celebrate your beautiful faith. I promise to try to close drawers and cabinets sometimes. I promise to be faithful to you and to be open and honest with you and share with you all of my heart. I promise to do our internet research, and I promise to always trust you with our small pieces of paper. I promise to work on our relationship and ask you about the space between us and find ways for us to be healthy together. I promise to love you and stay humbled and stay giddy that you've chosen me as your partner. I love you, Melissa, and I will love you for the rest of my life.
Rishi. In the presence of God and all these witnesses, it is my joy to marry you. While my understanding of marriage is quite limited, these are the promises I make to you today. You are my partner, my husband, and as we dance and stumble through life, I will be with you. When life makes sense and everything feels like a win, I will be with you. And when life is hard and we're tired and frustrated and confused, I will sit with you in the uncertainty and questions. I will be with you. In those moments when we miscommunicate or disagree, I will stay at the table and I will continue the conversation until we've figured it out. I will assume the best of you and your intentions. I will take adventures with you. I will be your positive enabler, as I know you will be mine. I will love, cherish, and honor you the best way I know how. And since I know my love for you is imperfect, I will keep getting to know you, trying to understand you more, and to learn how to love you better every day for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's coming. These rings will be a visible sign of the vows you have made. The hand you place this ring on will not stay the same. In time, wrinkles will form, calluses will come and go, and different scars may appear. And not only will each of you change physically, but also internally, as your values, your hopes may evolve. In 10, 20, or 30 years, you will change, but your wedding vows represented by these rings will be constant. The promise to love, cherish, and respect one another, no matter what life brings your paths you take, will always be worn around your finger. Your love will be constant as you walk into the unknown, and your rings and your vows will cling to your finger and hold you together no matter what may come. So Rishi, you may place that on Melissa's finger and repeat after me. I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a reminder
as a reminder
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
that I will love, honor, and cherish
in all times, in all places, with all my heart.
in all times and all places with all my heart.
It is an outward symbol of our inner unity.
It is an outward symbol of our inner unity.
And Melissa, you place this ring on Rishi's finger and repeat after me. I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a reminder
as a reminder
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
in all times and all places with all my heart.
in all times and all places with all my heart.
It is an outward symbol of our inner unity.
It is an outward symbol of our inner unity.
Melissa and Rishi, by their solemn promises freely made before God in the presence of these witnesses, have joined themselves together for one another, for love, and for life. Those whom God have joined together, may he generously bless forever. You may now kiss. It is my privilege to present to you Mr. and Mrs. Rishi and Melissa Desai.
I could build Nobody can see us. It's a you and me house. I have built a tree house. I have built a tree house. Nobody